Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So training camp starts this weekend. We finally got football back, open practices. Team's going to be out there. Veterans are going to be out there. They've been at training camp for a little bit now, doing meetings and things like that, but practice starts this weekend, so we're finally going to have some highlights and some real things to talk about. But I just want to catch up on some news and some topics that I haven't really discussed before we dive into the practices starting this weekend. And this is kind of just like a everything you need to know before training camp starts episode. But I want to start today's episode with saying a rest in peace to Jacoby Jones, and prayers and thoughts are with his family. And he's a Raven for life. He impacted that Super Bowl run in 2012 drastically. He had a huge impact, and it's just a shame at 40 years old that he's already gone from this world. But he left a lot of memories behind, and we'll be forever grateful as Ravens fans. So thank you, Jacoby. May you rest in peace. So the Ravens have officially made a move for that third safety spot, and it is veteran safety Eddie Jackson, who is coming over from the Bears. He's 30 years old. He's played both safety roles, very versatile, so I'm sure that he's going to play that Geno Stone role and at least compete with our Darius Washington. But I love the move. I mean, we know that we needed more competition at that third safety spot. This is potentially an upgrade over Geno Stone. Now, Justin Simmons is still out there. Obviously, that was a fan favorite. I liked him the most as well, but he probably cost way more. The numbers aren't out on this Eddie Jackson deal as I'm saying this because I'm just hopping on here right away, but I'm sure Simmons was way more, and we're going to get a value deal, this 1-year value deal for Eddie Jackson that we're not spending a lot. There's no risk really, but it is always good to bring in veteran competition and just for some veteran depth. I think Eddie Jackson can and will play a big role in this defense just like Geno Stone did last year. So it now allows the freedom for Kyle Hamilton to be moved around anywhere as usual, and then having a healthy Marcus Williams back. This secondary is loaded, man. This secondary is loaded from safeties to corners. If everyone stays healthy, I think this is the best secondary in the entire NFL. So great move by the Ravens, staying patient throughout free agency to get a veteran deal like this, a value deal, I'm sure. You know, a lot of these safeties were sitting around the safety market, wasn't as hot as it usually is. So I think Eric DeCosta striked at the right time, right after the Jamal Adams signing, right before training camp starts. This is a good move. And welcome to Baltimore, Eddie Jackson. Training camp does start this weekend, like I said, and we have a few injury updates. Adisa Isaac is on the non-football injury list, so he will not start training camp right away. And then Keaton Mitchell and TJ Tampa have been put on PUP so far. Keaton, obviously not a surprise, is probably going to miss half of this season or so. TJ Tampa, don't love seeing that early on, but these are just precautionary things at this point. From my understanding, there's nothing serious going on, but they're just not going to be ready to start camp. And then Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton, we're obviously still dealing with some things as well. Hamilton did have a minor surgery, so their camp status is probably up in the air and could be delayed a little bit. The good news is that nobody's really dealing with anything serious. No one's going to miss training camp in its entirety outside of Keaton Mitchell, most likely. So we should have everyone back, whether they start the first practice or not. I'm not sure. We'll see this weekend who's out there, who's limited, who's dealing with something, you know, and more information will come out as the weeks go, as the coaches are talking to the media and things like that. So over these next few weeks, we're really going to see who's really dealing with something and who's not. But this is where we're at the start of camp. Nothing serious. Just wanted to kind of talk about that. I'm not worried about any of these injuries. I am hopeful that Marlon Humphrey can stay healthy this season and we get a full healthy season from him. So if that means taking some training camp time off, so be it. I trust that he'll be ready for a football game. Marlon's gave us a ton of examples and proof of his ability to play football, even coming back from injury. So I'm not worried about anything like that. I'm not worried about him going through camp. I just want him to be healthy this year. I think our secondary is absolutely stacked, but we need Marlon. If we don't have Marlon out there, it gets a bit thinner. Then you're relying on a rookie in Nate Wiggins and Brandon Stevens, who just came on the scene last year, really. So I think having a healthy Marlon in combination with all of that and the depth that we have, along with the incredible safety play, is going to lead to the best secondary in the entire NFL. We just need those guys on the field. So just praying for health throughout this camp, but I am excited for camp to start. I can't wait to see these guys out on the field and playing some meaningful practice at least. This is the most meaningful practice we will have up to this date. And is really training camp is really the signal that football's about to start. The preseason's around the corner. We're going to get to see a lot of these depth guys play. And then the regular season's 48 days away or whatever. So can't wait, man. I'm excited. There's been a lot of player addition rumors floating around lately. And I say rumors because that's really all they are. Brandon Aiyuk requested a trade from the 49ers. So I know a lot of people have been exploring and talking about the potential of the Ravens trading for him just because we could use another proven receiver. But I just don't think that's realistic at all. I don't think that we're going to want to part with draft capital. I don't think that we are in any cap situation to be affording a contract like his, and he's going to want a big deal. So I don't see that as a realistic possibility at all. I think that the Ravens are going in with the receiving core they have. Not saying they could never make another move. If a couple injuries happen or something, I think we could get aggressive and go make a move or sign another veteran for a cheaper price or something. I mean, there's moves to be made out there. I'm not saying this will be permanently our receiving core all season long, but I think it is highly unlikely. I'd give it like a 5% chance that we would even explore an Aiyuk trade. Another secondary option that has been rumored recently to the Ravens is Stephon Gilmore, cornerback, veteran cornerback, has been around for a while, has played some meaningful ball and played some really good, solid, consistent football. Now, this is another where the price has to match the player. And where he's at right now and his ability, I think that he's taken, quite a bit of steps back from the Stephon Gilmore that we once knew. I wouldn't be mad at this as long as it's cheap. I'm definitely not mad about bringing in more veteran help, but I think our cornerback room is very, very deep. So unless Marlon is really struggling to stay healthy and dealing with some nagging things, or they don't really love what they see from some of the young guys yet, then I think it would make sense. Or if Gilmore just wants to play for a contender for a steal, kind of like Van Noy and Clowney did last year. If we can get Gilmore for super cheap, then by all means, right? Like I'm never going to say don't bring a guy over. But if he's commanding any type of decent money, I don't see how that fits right now. I don't think it's worth spending a lot, but I definitely would bring him in for the right price. And if we're battling some injuries, I think that it would be a nice depth security piece in case Marlon is in and out of the lineup or just can't stay healthy. Then having a guy like Gilmore who you can trust and knows how to play ball at a high level, I think is an advantage. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. The last thing I wanted to talk about is this recent news that Lamar and Troy Aikman are kind of going at it in a legal court for a trademark of the usage of the number 8. Now, Lamar has used the number 8 in a lot of his businesses and branding and things like that. And I guess Troy Aikman is starting to use the number 8. They both have worn 8. Troy Aikman wore 8 when he played. Lamar obviously wears 8 now, so they're connected to the number. And Troy Aikman's been using it in stuff that he's selling. So Lamar's team is filing a claim to say that it could confuse the usage of the number 8 in the market. So we'll see how that plays out. It's definitely not big football news. It's more like corporate legal business news. But it involves the Ravens, so I wanted to bring it up. It is an interesting thing. Like, can you trademark the number 8, or can you stop someone else from using or selling things with the number 8 on? I feel like that'd be pretty difficult. It's not like Troy's stealing Lamar's juice here. He wore the number 8 a long time ago. I know it's not as relevant right now, but he wore the number 8 before Lamar. So if he wanted to throw the number 8 on apparel or something, I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal, but I guess from a financial standpoint, if you do have things trademarked and you are actively using the number 8 and selling things, you probably have some kind of leg to stand on to try and get the other party to not use that, or pay up if you want to use it. So interesting little back and forth. We'll see how that plays out. But let me know what you guys think about training camp coming up this weekend. I know you guys are probably pumped too. What kind of battles are you looking forward to? What players do you think might break out? We'll be talking about all this stuff every day as practice is going, kind of giving an update and just discussing that day or so of practice and giving my takes on it and some highlights if we have them and just things like that. So I'm excited to dive back into training camp. Football is here, man. And I just wanted to make this video to kind of recap everything that's been happening this week before we dive into some actual new football stuff. So appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim there where the sense can't tame the untamed.